Welcome to PingPongDreams, where we tell stories not just about victories, but about those who loved, who fell, and who held each other up, right in the heart of the fiercest battles. Today, I won't tell you about gold medals. I'll tell you something far more precious, the story of friendship between those who were supposed to be enemies. MaLong and ZhangJike. Two names, two paths, two souls so different they stood on opposite ends of a spectrum, and yet, somehow, journeyed side by side through an entire career. As teenagers on the national youth team, they shared a room. MaLong was the model student, woke up early, folded his blanket square, trained until nightfall. ZhangJike was the opposite, wild, rebellious, often scolded for ignoring the training curriculum. But at night, you'd see the two boys lying beside each other, whispering dreams of the Olympics, of facing Korea, Japan, and the rest of the world. MaLong once said, "Zhang and I are nothing alike, but every time I fell, the first one to pull me up was always him." In 2011, ZhangJike exploded onto the scene. In just over a year, he became world champion, Olympic champion, and completed the Grand Slam. The media hailed him as the next legend. Fans screamed his name, the genius madman. And MaLong, the model captain, the hardest worker, the one always expected to shine, but never chosen to play the deciding match. London 2012 pushed their relationship to the limit. MaLong was cut from the Olympic squad. ZhangJike was picked, and he won. When Zhang stood on the podium, the world threw flowers. But that night, he quietly looked for MaLong, the teammate he had never beaten in practice. He knew if MaLong had played that match, the result might have been the same. He placed his hand on his friend's shoulder, said nothing, just nodded. And MaLong, after a long silence, smiled slightly. "Your victory is something we both should be proud of." Then came Rio 2016. The door finally opened. MaLong, after years of waiting, was selected. ZhangJike was still in form, but he chose to step back and cheer for his friend, the one who had stood in his shadow for a decade. The MaLong-ZhangJike Olympic final was considered the most beautiful civil war in Chinese table tennis history, not just because of technique, but because they understood each other more than anyone else. Every shot was a silent conversation. After the match, MaLong hugged Zhang tightly. They didn't say anything, just patted each other on the back. Those who understood cried. Those who didn't would never grasp this kind of friendship. The kind where you desperately want to defeat the other, but also know you cannot live without them. In 2021, when MaLong failed to defend his Olympic title in Tokyo, the first message he received was from Zhang. "No, don't be sad. No, you're still great. Just one line. You just finished an era. I'm lucky I was part of it." But you know, there's something they don't teach in textbooks, something no sports headline ever covers. It's that behind the glorious wins, loneliness often waits. In a rare interview, ZhangJike once said, "After I won the Grand Slam, I couldn't sleep for a month. Not because of pressure, but because I didn't know what to do next." He didn't say it out loud, but the only person he texted every night during that time was MaLong. And MaLong, even though he was hurting from being left behind, replied softly, "If you're tired, just come back to the team. There's still a spot next to me." No one ever saw those messages, but they were the thread that kept both from falling into the abyss of fame. Just like Fukuhara and Kasumi Ishikawa. Unlike the fierce rivalries in the Chinese team, they were two girls wearing the same flag, chasing the same dream, and sharing the same loneliness. I grew up first, became a prodigy. Her face was on posters, ads, even dolls. She cried whenever she lost, and Japan cried with her. Kasumi came later. No signature smile for TV, no sugary name, just quiet eyes and a very firm grip on the paddle. They once called her a faded copy of I, the one in the shadow. Once, at a training camp, Kasumi lost a practice match. She went back to her room and found a folded piece of paper on her desk. It was I's handwriting. "The world may call you a shadow, but you're the only one who ever makes me go all out." From then on, Kasumi stopped trying to become I. She started finding her own path. Rio 2016, both of them wore Japan's colors. After losing in the semifinal, Fukuhara didn't cry like she used to. She walked off court, took off her gloves, and headed straight to Kasumi, who had just lost too. They hugged each other tightly, No longer rivals, no longer big sister and little sister fighting for the top spot. Just two girls who had given everything for a shared dream. Not long after I retired, Japan mourned. But Kasumi, the quietest, was also the one who hurt the most. She didn't cry during the ceremony, but that night she posted a photo on Instagram, the two of them, years ago, eating ice cream on the training steps. No caption, just a blue heart, and one private message to I. From now on, I don't know who I'm training for anymore. Tokyo 2020, Kasumi fell in the quarterfinals. No I to hug her after the match. No one to walk with her down the long corridor to the locker room. Only white walls and the sound of her broken breathing behind a face mask. After the match, she bowed and said, barely audible, "If you were still here, maybe I wouldn't feel this alone." There are rivals you want to beat so badly it drives you mad, but they are also the ones you can't live without on your journey. They're the ones who saw you cry, tremble, break down, and still looked at you with respect. The ones who shouted in your face, "You're not good enough." But were also the first to grab your hand when you fell. One day, MaLong will hang up his paddle. ZhangJike will watch old clips on his phone. Kasumi will walk past an empty training court. Fukuhara will smile from behind a TV screen, and they will remember not the victories, but the glances through the net, the hugs after matches, and that feeling that they were never alone on this brutal road, because there's no such thing as a final match. Only those who once stood beside you and then faded away. If they're lucky, one day they'll meet again. No scoreboard, no medals, just an old ping pong table, a white ball, a pot of tea, and memories that never faded. They won't shake hands, they'll sit down, and one will whisper, "Thank you for always standing on the other side of the table. Thank you for not letting me go through youth alone." Thank you for listening to Ping Pong Dreams, because sometimes the most beautiful dreams aren't born from victories, but from friendship, forged in fire, in tears, and in the most brutal battles, only to end up sitting next to each other long after the final match has passed.